Hello, stream. I have returned from the
I
funny
think
hole.
Garrett might have stopped the stream.
Wait, no. I accidentally. Garrett said F. Garrett hit F1, so I thought I was in frickin' spectator. Instinctively.
Is the stream actually running? Because I thought Garrett might have stopped it.
Yeah, he did. Ooh, this looks nice.
Yeah, I've got a lot of work done on the library. I'm currently working on the portals. I need.
Okay, well, I got 3 more stacks of dark oak planks if you need.
Yeah, I had to go and get some of my own. That dimension point, there's way too much fire, and now there's pigmen that are automatically aggressive even though we didn't do anything.
Yep, that's Minecraft, alright.
Becca literally walked up to them and thought, oh, they're pigmen. As long as I don't touch them, nothing will happen. And then all of a
Pigmen
sudden,
anger. We should make a. We could probably make a subsector of this library. I like the scaffolding. That's a good idea.
Oh, the scaffolding was just there because I was.
Okay, hold on. I need to make a trip over to. I need to make a trip over to good shit because I gotta grab some sticky pistons for this idea.
we have sticky pistons.
Oh, we do.
I just found like a ton of food.
I was just mining up some obsidians that I can build the portals.
So I just need a couple of obsidians.
Yeah,
You know,
this
just
dirt represents bookshelves on account of we don't have enough to actually make.
Who
any.
freaking chucked 24 apples at me?
I just found 15 more leather in the base.
Wait, why did I put?
Sitting around in chests.
Where the hell did we get this saddle?
I have no idea. I think it might have been in a chest.
There's a lot of things that we don't know is in there.
I actually got that saddle before we ever, because I found a dungeon at one point. All right, we have 3 portals built in the library. Do they emit light actually?
I should make a secret archive room.
A small amount of light, but not a lot.
Yeah, I want glowstone to put in here, but we don't have glowstone, so.
Here, I'm currently putting the staircase out of ooh,
Craft
iron.
An axe. We have a dimension.
Slurp. I have an idea here. I'm gonna make a secret archive room for the special things.
We're gonna have to watch a movie.
Which movie?
Onward.
I don't want to watch that.
Oh,
I want to build the library.
Today. It was pretty rare.
Kurt, you're gonna need redstone.
I have redstone
Where?
in my inventory, you dolt.
What? You only have 14.
So
You're gonna need a lot of redstone.
But yeah, I'm quite proud of the way this library.
Kurt, we're gonna have to watch a movie.
why?
Cause otherwise.
I don't want to
Yes.
watch the movie. I want to build this.
Well, tell them, not me.
So why don't you just pass a message that says I'm busy, I don't want to watch Onward.
I'm not your messenger boy.
Well, you obviously are because you freaking came down here and gave me a message.
He's their messenger.
I'm not your
not
messenger
yours.
boy.
What if I pay you?
Yeah, okay, then what are you gonna pay me?
This flashlight that doesn't have batteries in it.
Not good enough.
I'm gonna pay you in Robux.
I'll pay you in Robux. I'll pay you in Raux.
Then let me see the rounds.
Get on hand the Raux fiend.
Give me the
Can I have
rounds.
3
Where's
dark
my
oak
routes,
planks?
Corey? You better give me routes.
I can do you one better. I have 4 dark oak flanks.
Hey,
Oh,
hey,
oh.
hey, if Salmon buys me Uno, I'm going to
Did you just
get
okay.
the message.
I picked up your redstone. Sorry, I'll just throw it there.
I'll relay the message.
Unhand the Raux, you fiend.
No, I won't relay the message
minute,
unless
I
Salmon
crafted the
buys
wrong
me
thing. I
Uno
have a
on
little-
Steam.
I crafted slabs, but that's not what I was planning to craft. It was...
Corey doesn't want to watch Onward.
Stop taking my piston.
Yeah.
Did you tell them that I am busy?
Corey says that he's busy.
He's doing important things.
Corey, he said you're lying.
No, I'm busy building a library.
He is busy building a library. It's not my fault.
It's Garrett's fault. It is 100%
I
Garrett's
was
fault.
You should leave one of these open just to be another portal.
Yeah, I was actually kind of thinking that too. Like, we actually
You can
have,
also
you
make
know, a
these
dedicated method.
stairs so that it kind of evenly sort of goes up to the thing.
What is that?
Raining.
That's just stone. Okay. Make sure I'm not breaking any crucial components.
Lex, why are you collecting that iron?
I'm building something. I'm mining the craft.
When you're mining the craft.
I need even more wood. Oh wait, no, you already gave me a ton of wood. Actually, I'm just
Yeah,
done.
there's like half a stack of leather sitting in a chest in the bedroom area.
Uh-oh.
Something like that.
The purpose of that leather? No one knows.
It's to build books.
Build books.
There's 27.
I thought we had smooth stone.
Go to the smooth stone dimension.
Yeah, but if well, we have 2 stacks of it in this chest. What the hell?
Wasn't there something bad about the smooth?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the smooth stone dimension was cursed for some reason.
I did name it Smooth Funny, so clearly there's something wrong with it.
I don't know. I just need smooth stone as in just stone so I can make repeaters.
Oh, stone? We have tons of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been cooking it non-stop.
Yeah, it's right here in this chest.
Lex has been getting stoned nonstop.
Corey.
Yeah, I got it. I got 2 repeaters now. I'm just basically trying to make a double piston extender to extend this other thing out. Let me mark out where the hallway's gonna be, 'cause that's usually a good place to start.
I like this Doomslayer skin, it looks cool. What are you doing? Double hallway?
I'm making the funny hallway.
Delicious crunchy soup.
It's where you get all the non-ethical books, like how to teach frogs to read. Enough questions.
Alright, so the straight on portal should be a dedicated method rather than
So I'm gonna guess you're probably gonna make this step lift up, and then it's gonna be 2 pistons.
Oh, guys, I just remembered something I saw online. Actually, if I can craft a written book,
You could just name it.
well, I just need to get all of the stuff necessary to make one. Did you find any sugarcane salmon?
I told you I didn't. Busy killing
Find-
stuff,
find
and then
some.
it became nighttime.
Who stole all of Lex's sugarcane again? Was it Garrett?
Somebody decided to put it into a fucking barrel because they were getting ready to stock up for the or prepare for the to build the enchantment table. And I was like, fine, if you guys want it that much, I'll fucking make it. And now we don't have any sugarcane. You didn't just let me farm it.
Did it do it?
Well, there's a regular biome this way. Follow,
Squid's gonna need some of those.
Follow me.
Okay, one of the pistons extended, so that's a start. Wait. Why do I... Oh, right, that one.
Squid murder. Doot, 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 doot.
Squid successfully murdered.
It's this way.
I need to convert one of these into a slab.
I'm just gonna swim.
Hope I accidentally obtained a cursed book. What do I do? Get it off. Get it off.
Can you type in custom stuff into the books so that you can
Yes.
create your own biomes, kind of like a secret?
Yeah, I saw a thing online that said
I
if you
found some
type.
sugarcane.
Oh fuck, I see it too. I saw a thing online that said like if you name a book library with the contents of library, it's actually a shit ton of books.
There's a couple. There's like one called Bridges. There's one called frickin'
Which seems almost
Borders.
as if that was implemented by the devs, but
Well,
whatever.
it isn't
Okay.
There's one called Isolation.
Let's go get all the books. This is all we need.
Well, hopefully we haven't been misled.
I feel like a lava fall. let's hope we also remember how to get home. Oh wait, no, I remember. I've been here before.
Secret staircase, secret staircase.
Yeah, the bamboo plants we had made a really good remote beacon actually, but I kinda sorta had to chop it down and use it to make scaffolding.
Sam's gonna murder you.
Why didn't you just replant some bamboo?
Oh, I didn't. I left the base of the stalks out, so like,
Oh,
so it's there to regrow. But I had to harvest some, you know,
man,
build
this stuff
damn
moves
scaffolding.
fast.
Because scaffolding is the main purpose of bamboo in the game, to be honest.
Yeah. Like, what else are you gonna do with bamboo?
I mean, you can use it to breed pandas, but like,
Haha, ha,
literally-
you'll shoot yourself.
in normal gameplay, I have literally never seen a panda. I have not. To be fair, jungles are one of the rare biomes.
Alright,
so-
I'm gonna admit it, I'm lost.
Yeah. Oh wait, I might be able to navigate us.
That's a first.
Sure, go ahead. Can't exactly get any more lost. Unless, of course, we
Oh,
stumble
oh
into
wait, I
it.
see bamboo. It's grown.
Yeah, there it is. Wow, look at that. It grew back in time.
Neat shit. Oh fuck,
I
I'm
used to
hungry.
hate flexing, but it grew on me. Supreme is always jealous when I pull up in the Bugatti.
The Grugatti.
Yeah.
Everybody gangsta till the
What?
Grugatti pull up.
What? Yeah, you got COVID.
Who got COVID?
William Osmond.
Oh, that
William
dude.
Osman?
Yeah.
The smart, funny inventor died. Yeah, him.
Oh.
Let's go get some friggin' books.
Give me the funny. Give me the book so that I can write it.
Oh, it
I
only
need more redstone.
Just give me the materials.
too late, I already made a book.
I now realize how little redstone we actually acquired somehow.
Just give me the book. Okay. Now I need.
Feather.
Oh wait, here's some more.
All
Found-
the crap in these chests, where are the feathers?
Found 20 more redstone.
Why don't we have any feathers?
Good question. I don't think we've been killing chickens.
I killed a ton
Oh.
of chickens. There should be feathers around here.
Okay, I need to go kill some chickens.
No, there are feathers.
It's chicken hunting time.
I know this for a fact.
Yeah, there's gotta be feathers. I mean, could they just be in your inventory by any chance, Salmon?
Huh?
Could they still be in your inventory? Oh, you know what? Actually, I think there were some in the bedroom chest. Nope. Think, where do we keep...
Okay, we gotta put our brains together. Where do chickens usually live?
So, oh, found feathers. Found them.
Hand them over.
Where's the chicken house?
This is a library.
Spell it library.
Library.
Library. Library.
This had better
Alright.
or I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah, otherwise we just got fucking
Pranked.
beamed.
Got beaned.
Alright, here we go.
You're using up one of the big boy tools. Did it work?
Loading terrain. It'll happen. Yes! Oh
It
wait,
worked?
no, these are infinite books, not regular bookshelves. Bruh. Well, it got
Bruh.
us glowstone. So it's not a complete loss, but I was really hoping for normal.
Oh wait, what happens when you break these? Oh, you just get it.
Yeah, you just get.
The stairwell works.
Well, I mean, this is something, but it's not, you know, what we
Get
wanted.
lost.
Yeah, it's very easy to get lost here,
So
actually.
yeah, we got that. It looks like an infinite library.
So, I mean, it gives us a lot of
Some
books.
small brains right now. Just used up our only sugar cane.
A bruh moment has occurred. Build.
Level 2 bro moment. Do not panic.
I'm panicking. I'm panicking.
Yeah, would be a good time to panic, yes. Will this work?
Level 97 bruh moment has occurred. Well,
Okay, well, the stairs work.
I mean, it's a nice little Easter
I just gotta
egg, I guess.
figure out where to put the lever.
I don't know. Maybe
I
at
could.
this point now, I'm wondering if we fuck around, name a book Stronghold and throw it in, then will it give us a Stronghold? Because that just straight up has a library in it.
Fair point.
Hold
So
on, let's
you know
Google
we can
search this.
experiment, but maybe let's actually get some fucking sugar.
You know what?
Actually, let's
just
get in bed.
experiment in creative. Let me do that, actually.
Wow,
Z,
that's some fancy stuff.
go to bed, Corey.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to figure out where we can hide the switch to this so Garrett won't find it. Garrett cannot find the secret stash of more dimension traveling books.
Alright,
We should just make one long hallway of them.
Book and quill, and then I need obsidian, and then I need, like, a stack of book and quills. And then I need a flint and steel. Alright, so I should try stronghold, correct?
Salmon, I'm hiding the secret lever under your bed. Because there's already a hole there. Because Garrett's a moron and doesn't know how to dig out a floor.
Type in stronghold in the book and name it stronghold.
Oh, you know what? I might have actually made the while building the library. Yeah.
No, this was Garrett. This was Garrett, remember? He was like flailing around with a freaking pickaxe. You're like, Garrett, no,
Oh,
you
yeah,
just gotta.
Okay, never mind. Yep.
Green.
Oh.
Yeah.
I broke something.
What did you break?
I broke a torch. I'm.
Jesus.
Damn it! How could you?
Well, I didn't get the results I was looking for,
Uh-oh.
but it's all iron ore.
Oh,
that's
well. Yeah, I mean, I guess.
What the hell? Okay.
Alright,
I
so
wonder-
should I try
Hey, Lex.
Try bookshelf. See what happens if you just name it bookshelf. Because maybe you'll get a dimension full of a block that block's name. I don't know. I'm just.
Yeah, but I'd take stronghold. I don't know, maybe.
Well, stronghold isn't a block. What?
Hey, how
You
do...
were looking for a dark oak forest?
Oh. You know, I am interested.
Bookshelf. Oh, this is cool. It's like a sky island, too.
Well, damn, we're definitely going to be writing that down somewhere.
Yeah, bookshelf. There you go.
Hey.
Start getting some signs and write it down. Alright, what next? Oh wait, crap. I gotta go.
Bam. See ya.
Turns out I accidentally closed this door. Yeah, I gotta go.
Rip in peace.
Why are you not powering the thingy?
Not gonna lie.
Oh,
this
that's
is
why.
a pretty dang neat library. I'm very proud of it, actually.
I am blind, help.
E.
There we go. I did it. Haha. It's very inconspicuous. Ooh. Yeah, Lex, where are you?
I'm currently in the library dimension. Ceilings and glowstone. Hold up, I'll see if I can find the portal again.
You better not be freaking lost.
I probably am. Hold on, I'll just go all the way to the top. Fuck. Okay, that was really close. And I am not regenerating on account of I'm hungry. I'll just go all the way to the top. I'm currently at the bottom. Uh, this is boring.
What, the library dimension? Yeah, well, I mean, I don't really know what you expected.
No, I mean, waiting forever to ascend up this fucking ladder.
10 years. How far does it go down?
Let's see. I'm pretty sure it goes literally the entire way.
Huh.
It's the absolute tallest it can be. And it's fucking massive. You know what? I'm high up enough. I can just...
Lex is high enough.
where's the portal? No portal. No portal, no portal.
Are you stuck?
Yeah, I might need to just give me cords. Oh hey, I've got rotten flesh, I can eat that.
Wow, okay, I'm kind of proud of how that came out. Are you in the green portal in the library?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. That is precarious.
What are the cords, please?
Chords are negative 225, 48, negative 55. Good God. Yeah, you're right.
Did you say 225?
225, yes.
And then negative 48. Don't see it on this side nor this side, but it's gotta be on one.
Good
What was
God.
the Y value?
Like 60, 50.
Okay, well, I guess I can't see you because I'm all the way at 256.
You know, yeah, that'd be a pretty good reason. Good God. It's enough to drive a man insane.
It has driven a man insane. Me.
Dude, 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 dude.
Nope, nope, nope. That's gravity.
Did you find the portal?
I am attempting to still. I am stupid and dumb, so. How is it not in either of these? These are the. Give me the chords again, please.
Hold on. I'm just gonna stand in the portal. 228, 49, negative 6, or negative 228, 49, negative 60.
Oh, you're down there. Okay, we'll just.
Hello, Lex.
Hi. Yeah, there's a lot here, and it's all one thing. That's it. It's all books. It's all learning.
It's all knowledge. Hey, Lex. Lex, do you want to see a funny? So, there's a hidden switch under Samet's bed. Well, not very hidden, but still a switch.
Hidden enough that Garrett will never see it.
Yes, that opens his door in the stairwell and takes you down. You can actually close it from in here, too. For extra secret.
Oh, whoops.
So yeah, that's what I did.
Neat.
So now we can hide even more books down there. We can just put all of the books in there. Just make a one really long 2x1 hallway. It's just nothing, or 2x2 hallway. There's just nothing but books.
It's learning.
More book.
Oh yeah, that looks nice.
This is so
Alright.
frickin'. Standing here is so freaking loud. It's like deafening when the portals do their sound effects, they all do it at the same time. I wonder if your
Alright,
sugar
well-
cane has grown yet.
Wait, did I plan any?
What the hell is that? It's like an iron golem. Extend.
Crunchy soup.
Crunch. Yeah, there's like no rivers by us. Actually, no, there is one.
What the fuck did I just... Alright, whatever, I'm gonna go look for sugarcane.
I'm
Actually-
doing that too.
Yeah.
I found a dog.
Oh, Mr. Skeleton.
I don't think I want to subject the dog to interdimensional travel. That was easy. Hey. I've made it to the river. Just fighting some monsters.
Yeah, there are a lot of monsters. We probably should have done this during the day.
It's fine.
Huh.
Much easier to fight him here than in Minecraft dungeons. Partially because creepers don't freaking murder you in one hit. I found a swamp. Hey, slimes! Holy crap!
Oh, I did not see slimes last time I was there. Alright.
It's a win for us. Come here. Bonk, bonk, bonk.
That is a lot of sheep corpses.
I
which
just got
seems to be
9
really
slime balls.
neat shit.
I found some sugar cane.
Oh, alright. Well, in that case, I'm just headed back home. I'm gonna be honest, slime balls are a lot more useful when you don't have access to a dimension literally made of sticky pistons. Well, I guess we haven't found a slime block dimension yet, but considering there's
I found a
almost,
lot of sugar cane.
there's something like 80 bookcases in the library, so we're bound to probably find something.
I have a stack of. I have 16 sugar cane, which I think is a stack of it, but I'm not sure. Sure if it stacks to 16 or 64.
Sugarcane stacks to 64.
Alright. Well, I have, what, a quarter of a stack?
We'll take it home and plant some.
I wonder where our house is, judging from the massive freaking bamboo shoot I see coming over the horizon.
And I hope we find a dimension that has beacons. We don't have to go to one of the scary wither dimensions and get one from there.
What we do is we build another portal in the TNT dimension and route it in the wither dimension. Suddenly prime TNT just starts pouring through the other portal.
Now you're thinking with portals.
You're thinking with portals. Okay, well, I got 16 sugarcane. So.
Neat. Alright, plant some of it over in the sugarcane. And I'll put the barrel down somewhere where it won't get directly in the way of sugarcane production. And then we can use the rest to produce. We don't even have enough for shelf yet. Alright, well, definitely a start. Oh, you replaced the blocks of the stairs. Good call.
What? Oh, yeah.
In the library, you replaced the stone.
Well, I didn't replace them, I just put them on top.
Yeah. I mean,
Where's my shovel? There it
it's
is.
in the funny. Alright, this crafting table wasn't really meant to be there permanently, so I'm gonna find it. Although, I mean, it does make sense to put it somewhere. Honestly.
Diamond, good. I like how we have wither spelled in like 3 different ways. Why is there so many sticks in this chest?
For comedy reason,
Well,
obviously.
That's good, because I'm making a ladder out of the frickin' funny hole that we throw the poopy books into. There's no you can climb out.
Alright, I am now one book closer to being able to make a bookshelf.
1 bookshelf.
Hey, one bookshelf still does contribute power to the enchant.
Hmm. This would look pretty sick.
Yeah, this is gonna look awesome when it's not just empty. We've got a lot of random books in the chests for some reason. I'm gonna deal with some of these. Oh, yeah. What actually happened to Lava Pit?
A lava pit? Oh, I patched up because Salmon threw me in it.
Oh. Well, no, we only. Wait, wait.
We should come up with a system to quarantine the library if we accidentally come into a dimension where mobs are pouring through the portal again.
Probably, but also be fine.
We could probably come up with a way to at least quarantine the portal room. I have an idea. We just get a bunch of gravel on top of it and drop it in the frickin' portals. Like, drop it in front of here. Like, if we dug out these 3...
We could add pistons. And, yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea.
Just drop it. And then...
Pull the lever!
Pull the damn lever! I'll get working on the pistons. We have sticky pistons, but that's not really what we need. We need just normal pistons.
I'm gonna head to one of the nicer dimensions.
Yeah. Pull the damn lever. So I'm gonna make some.
Alright, I'm gonna build like a proper fort in the mushroom dimension.
Probably a good idea. I'll make a couple pistons. I can never remember. Okay, I need iron. That'll work. I made 2 pistons and ran out of redstone.
Okay, right. I actually need resources. I'm gonna build. Oh, that's a little weird. Wait, hold on. So I wonder if I change that portal to something else and go back through, will it relink to the library portal instead of that portal?
Can't remember where I shoved the extra redstone. So remember I did have extra, and then I threw everything in a chest and then forgot about it. But now I don't know where it
Okay,
is.
that's a little weird. So, any of the books that are in the original room will route us to the original portal instead of the library portal.
It's witchcraft, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Wait, I actually came back to actually get
Someone's put a stack and a half of sweet berries in this chest for no reason.
Delicious.
Delicious.
Time is it? 7:02 p.m., huh? I've not had dinner. Why did Minecraft just minimize? Who knows? Okay. So I don't need this garbage.
Hey, is there a dimension with redstone in it?
I don't think so. I don't know, you could begin exploration in some of the new dimensions unlocked by having the library there.
Hold on, I have a hunch. Nah, this just has another gold ore. Doesn't have any redstone in it. We need to find a good way to mass produce like ender pearls or elytra or something.
I mean, there's a bunch of dimensions we have where it's just full of Endermen.
The hell?
So
Let's make an Enderman farm there. Death. Your death. That awkward, relatable moment when you are dying.
funny.
Looks like I'll just need to...
Okay, that's a little fucking weird.
What?
An entire... I forgot the way the shading works in the good dimension. All of the world from one direction is just black. This looks strange.
Enter the black direction. It's not the dimension, it's just the direction. Looks like I'm gonna have to hunt for redstone the old-fashioned way.
By constant dimension hopping until you find some.
No, just wandering around in a dank, dark hole until something happens.
In the real world, that's pretty stinky.
In Minecraft, that's half the game. Ah, I found some. That was fast. Let me try not drop this in the lava. Hey, I got 23 more. Nice. This should be all I need, because I can just run a switch.
The only thing I brought to this dimension to eat is a mushroom bowl, or is a bowl.
A bowl?
I just brought a bowl to eat because all of the mushrooms here. I can't see anything I'm building because it's all black.
I should probably just use sticky pistons. Oh well. Well, we have 3 normal pistons too if you need them. Then I could make... I could grab some colorful concrete from that other dimension.
That dimension doesn't seem like a good idea.
Why?
Because there's a lot of colorful concrete that's just floating, really to be updated. Also, there were phantoms and shit.
Oh, not
Also,
the concrete powder dimension, the one with actual concrete on the ground.
Ah. I don't remember that one. Wasn't very tasty, I guess.
You got the quarantine button. See if I remember which one that was. It's on this side. Diamond good. More emeralds. Egg.
What if we also had a way to actually automatically or put the sand or gravel back? It'd be utterly ridiculous, but it'd be neat.
Actually, let me go to a shape dimension. I think I could find some there. I just say something to signify that there's a door that could be shut here and could probably crush you to death. In an epic gamer fashion. I probably need a water bucket to get down first. But yes, there is concrete in there, so that's good.
Oh yeah.
Hey. Never mind. I forgot that the 3 long water thing makes an infinite water source.
Honestly, I knew that before I knew about the 2x2 thing.
See, I've always been a 2x2 guy myself.
Nowadays, I usually use 2x2 for building a farm.
Yeah. Alright, I see a cube of colorful stuff. See, that's terracotta, that's glass, brown wool. I think I saw one of concrete. No, it's wool.
Are you streaming right now?
Yes, yes I am. Just as a visual log of what happened.
Just making sure.
Making sure. Ooh, I think that's a block of white concrete. So I could dye that. Cause that cube is made out of wool, and that's not what I need. I need concrete. That's either concrete or snow. I think it's concrete. Well, there's concrete powder. I'm not gonna touch that. Actually, I might. Yeah, it's just white concrete. Hey, we have orange dye, right?
I think so. A little bit.
Okay, well, just in case, let me try to not lag out the game too bad by updating this orange concrete powder.
Here we go.
Okay, no, it's not too bad.
Yet.
I'm just grabbing some red concrete to signify that funny will occur if you stand under the door when it closes. Okay, let me put all this in the water. Alright, I got a bunch of red concrete. We should be good.
Oh boy, I think dinner's about to happen.
The dinner is about to happen. The only dinner. Should
What? Just open the door.
Is it Jack?
It's Gray.
It's Gray.
Yeah,
Hi, Gray.
He says hi, Corey.
Hi, Corey. Do you have Corona?
Probably.
I know I do.
He said probably.
Hi, Worry.
All right, you try to flee him now.
Oh
Hi, Worry.
god, the yellow text is different when you left the game.
Get out of my. I'm out. I'll be
Right.
back probably after dinner.
I would assume that's where salmon is. Let's see. Okay. So this is gonna be a fun task trying to get the emergency bulkhead door operational. Alright. Let's see. I should probably put the switch in an easy to access area. Put the button there. Actually, no. Actually, yeah. I'll recess the button a little bit. I actually should probably make it a lever. But, okay. Alright, so let's see. So I'm gonna need to run a line up there. So I should probably put in a door somewhere to get up there. I could probably put it in the bedroom, actually. Yeah, that'll work. Just run along the wall here. There we go. So this will be the way that you refill the gravel, sand, whatever, drop down. So this will be where you do that. Here, a skeleton. Gotta pee. Finish this. I need redstone. So my plan is to basically have it be a toggle switch, like a reversed redstone torch. Yeah, I have to pee. I'll be right back. Alright. So yeah, basically my plan is to have a accidentally unplugged my headphones there. Jesus Christ. My plan is to basically just have a bunch of I think we have gravel, but I could just mix in some concrete powder. Let's see. Yeah, we do have gravel. So I'll probably need 5 of these. And so I'll put in some orange concrete powder just so you know what it is. But yeah, so I'm going to need to run the signal. Could probably do this. Yeah. So I had the button there. Make a torch. Or I guess it'd be a lever there. Can I feed it back through there? Cannot get out of here. Sorry, books. Attach this hole up. Let's make a lever. Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah, let's make a lever. Alright, there we go. Lever there. And so that'll lead up to that. Speaking of which, I need to put some more stone bricks down there. But, yep, alright. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so that. Just go up here. There we are. Let's make a nice, ow. I should probably put some floor down there first, so let me go grab some stone bricks. Which I know we have a lot of, because I just saw a bunch. Now I can't find it. Of course. Aha, here's some. So let's patch up that hole we just punched in the ceiling. So, ungraciously. Some of that there. Yep, that works. So yeah, basically that'll pop down, seal whatever the hell is trying to come through the portal for us, or it'll seal it away. So yeah, we do have a contingency plan, so yep. I realized what I did, because I'm stupid and dumb, but actually, it'd be a nice chance to see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I could actually go in and get just a bunch of orange concrete powder. I think I'll do that. I'll just go grab a bunch of orange concrete powder to make up the door. Because I think that'll look pretty nice. Is that orange concrete powder or is that orange wool? I'm not certain, so let's go find out. Oh wow, the water really is red. That's green concrete. That it is in fact orange concrete powder. So let's break this bottom one here. Go. Just grab a crap ton of this. And let's swim back. That's pretty surreal. The entire ocean is made out of stripped, I think that's birch logs. Might be stripped jungle logs, actually. Owie. Right, drowning is a thing. I may try to swim up the water stream. Okay, you know what? Just gonna do that till we hit the top. Let's eat some celebratory melons. Actually, let me see if we have another door. We do not. So I will make one. Bada bing. wonder if we have any red dye. Some red dye would look good in that, I think. Let's look. I believe we do. If not, we probably have a crap ton of just random flowers. I wonder if we can make it out of berries. No, okay. Seeing if I can dye that sign a visible color. Saw some yellow dye back there just now, but I'm not sure. I think a red dye would look better, but yellow dye will do. Let's see if... I'm not sure if this works in survival mode. Oh, it does. I think it's still, I still think it'd look better with red. I'll root around in these chests. Let's see. Nope. Actually, let's just look outside. Pfft, there's red dye right here. Okay, that works. Let's fall down these stairs and set that sign. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Celebratory melons. Let's see if we can get cracking on some of these bookshelves. Yeah. Yes, we can. Let's make some paper. Can make a bunch of paper. We had a bunch of leather in one of these chests. I think it's down here. Unless Lex has it. Pretty sure I saw some. Yeah, there it is. Book. Oh, it does make the book. Oh. Okay. Oh, there's 3 more books for the collection. Where is it? How many books do we need for a bookshelf? Oh, I just need wood. That's a surprise. Ah! Well, it was 3, 3, and 3. There we are. Boom. 1 bookshelf. Alright. Let's put these back. Let's clear these leaves away from this. Thought we had a note block somewhere. 'Cause I could make a little bit of like an alarm that goes off if the containment door is pulled. Let's see. We probably have one somewhere. Because I think there was one dimension we walked into that's just note blocks. Yeah. Let's see, we do have emeralds, so I could make a emerald block. Oh yeah, okay. It's 9. Boop, 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 boop. Emerald block. There we are. So now I need to do that. Why do I hear zombies? It's so weird. Oh, I bet I know. I think they're in my redstone area. There we go. I should probably... I think I need a little bit more material. Why the hell is there an iron golem in our bedroom? Like, first let me chase the zombies out of my redstone area. Actually, they're over here somewhere. They gotta be under here. I don't know. It's weird. They sound close. Oh wait, there might be a patched up like piece of ore or something over here. It's getting louder when I come over here. Are they right behind the shelf? I think they are. Aha! There they are. Fight me. Yes, I know I had a perfectly good sword there. Need some torches. Keep them from spawning in there. Looks like they hit a big vein of gravel. when they were digging out the library. I'd assume, at least. Yeah. Let's torch the crap out of that. And seal this up like nothing ever happened. There we are. Alright, so I need to make another repeater, looks like. Just so that I don't like short out the redstone on the door itself, because you know that's usually a thing you want to avoid, is triggering the door over and over again. So it's so now we can do that. Put that here. There. Looks like I need a bit more redstone. Wait, actually, no, I don't. I can just do this. Then instead of that, I put the note block. So now if I break this, there we are. So now that'll go off when the need arises. So basically that if some idiot pulls the lever, we can figure out who. Or we'll know. If I could enchant anything. I don't have any lapis, but sweeping edge? Wait, sharpness. So we'll need to come up with a way to get more lapis at some point. Let's go see if our sugar cane is doing any better. Ah, yes. I could make 3 more paper for 1 more book. Book. That's the wrong chest. Book. There we are. Yeah, really, we don't have any materials for the books besides. I don't know where the hell all the leather came from. Someone's been out killing horses or something. I don't know. Guess I can work on my secret room until people get back. Oh, Garrett's still in the call. Okay, I'm like, I haven't been kicked from this yet, and that's a little worrisome. But looks like Garrett's still in the call, which would explain why you can hear some echoes sometimes. Haha, yes. Okay. Getting the thingy. Who's getting the thing? I forgot. Oh yeah, flicking the lever. That's what I was doing. I lost my train of thought there. Yeah, let's go, work on the secret tunnel. So I'm thinking we could probably make another section of books down there. As sort of like a contingency if we don't, like, if somehow all the other bookcases get destroyed, we can have some extra. Or, well, really, what we need that for is to just get some of these out of this chest. Because there is a lot of those in the chest. So, I think you should have kept that crafting table here. Where could we put this? We could put this on the floor. There we go. Let's make some stairs. Actually, it's cheaper to do it on the stone cutter. Oh, looks like we can't make it in the stone cutter. Well, actually that makes sense because it's not stone and I'm very smart. So let's make some stairs. I think they should add like a sawhorse or something for the wood stuff. It's basically the stone cutter except for wood. I don't think I'm digging into anything vital over here, so I'll just do that. So my plan is just make a hallway and just line it with bookcases, like all the way down it. So I will actually, I need some torches, so I'm going to grab some. Okay. Coal. Some charcoal, stick. Obsidian. More sticks. Let's get some of these. Looks like I'll need to take some out of this furnace. Huh. That's pretty cool. Boop. And boop. Perfect. Probably won't need to make torches anytime soon. Pressure plate, and I need slabs. I'm just gonna do this so I can make a bunch. Go. Make a butt ton of slabs. We're just gonna make this a 3-block wide hallway. I'm just gonna start filling this with books. Das Books. Just grab a couple stacks from in this chest, just so we can start getting them out of here, so we have some more space for things. Like I said, in the library alone, there's about like 80. So the secret library, there'll be a bunch more probably. We can always grab more from that library dimension. I do like these bookshelves, as they only have one side to them, so it makes a bit more sense than conventional bookshelves. But I don't know, that's just me. Alright, so now we do the long, laborious process of just making a very straight hallway. I think I'm going to... I know how I'm gonna do the torches. We're just gonna put a piece of cobblestone for where the torches go, and we're just gonna put it like that. Therefore, we have room to put signs on the side. Things like that. Let's just carve out the spot we're going to have the hallway go to. I think I'm just going to have it keep going in a straight line for a while. I hear a skeleton. Do 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 do. This is very entertaining, I know. And again, this is like half of Minecraft. See, noting how I put down about 20 bookcases there. This will probably work out fine. Actually, I put down more than 20, which is a little strange, but somehow put down an... I guess I did have an odd amount to start with. I didn't start it with a stack. So I technically put more than 20. I put about 40, I guess. 41. Do 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 do. Imagine just stumbling across this like randomly. Like it's being on and stumbling across this the library of forbidden knowledge. So that was more than 43 books that I just put down, so it's pretty good, if I do say so myself. And I got this other half here, so yeah, we'll be done in no time. Problem is just getting the ceiling looking right. But then again, we do have that dark oak dimension that catches on fire thing, which I'm not sure how much I can mine from that anymore now I think about it, because the portal was pretty close to the lava, so I don't know, we'll have to see. I'm getting lots of cobblestone now. Might need to empty my inventory soon. It's a lot of cobblestone. Do 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 do. Alright, there we go. It's another wall cleared out. Let's get this final layer done. Probably easier if I just like stand here and do 3 and then do the one last one. I honestly think they could update the bookshelf model, or the texture, to be more like these boxes. I think that would look better. Because really, the texture for the bookshelf, it's like 4-sided, so it's a little... Well, it's if somehow the books break the laws of physics and go into each other. It's hard to think about it, yeah, so try not to think about it too much. But yeah, they do... I think these look much better because it actually looks like a box or a shelf. In fact, they could have the books on 2 sides. Because then you could put them sideways and hide them, but still have like an enchanting table, for example. And I think that could be pretty interesting. Definitely on a decoration standpoint. Probably going to run out of bookcases before I finish this. That looks pretty good so far. Definitely catch you off guard if you just kind of walk down here randomly and just saw a massive hallway of bookshelves. I need some more diamonds because I think my pick is about to break. I also need to dump off some of this. Can I make a stick like this? I can, huh? That's neat. That there. Let's dump out some of this crap. There we are. So yeah, now I'm debating on whether I should just leave the ceiling as, like, just stone, just have stone on each one, or if I should, keep, like, putting down the dark oak. Because really, it's just, 64 can fill 8 by 8, so this is, I'm not sure how this would factor in, because this is a pretty long hallway. Probably gonna need more than a stack at least. It'd be cool if I could make this go out of render distance. You know, it's always an interesting thought. I wonder what inspired this, like, April Fool's update. Jesus Christ. Okay. That's where the ravine is that we were at. So, I do need to tread with caution here. That ravine is very tall. Yeah, okay. Do. Guess. Yeah, so now what we really need to find is a beacon. Or make a couple beacons, or a dimension with beacons in it, basically. Because that would be very useful, because we already know where to get emeralds and iron and stuff from, so... Huh? Did you hear that? The alarm for the door just went off. What the hell? That was weird. I guess it offloaded or something. That was a little jarring. And let's see if it does it again if I go over here. If I go over here, and I come back. Huh. It'll probably happen again. It'll scare the crap out of me again. Yeah, I think that's kind of funny how close the ravine is to here. That is a long way down. Ugh, don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's just too scary. Oh god, okay, this follows the library for a decent distance back. Should tread with caution. Yep, there it is again. Could probably just make another chest full of these down there. Just get these out of the way, pretty much. Let's see. There's another one. Ah, here we are. Just grab the rest of these because I'm probably going to need them. There it is again. I don't know what keeps updating the note block. Casually run past the library because I'm stupid. Make that. Put that here. Make a chest. Put that there. Put all of these in here except for like 2. And then run these over here. That is a lot of books. Should probably start working on the ceiling at least. Probably just go around that. Ah. Ah. Scary, scary, scary. Let's make the slabs. That should probably be enough for 10 lifetimes. Then again, I have been repeatedly surprised about how many books this hallway is sucking up, so there's that. Should probably eat something. Hello, Garrett. Is the
Hi.
movie over?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
You were gone for a while.
How was it?
That was actually pretty good. Oh wait, did everyone leave?
Yes. I think they're all eating dinner.
At 8?
Yes.
Oh, so you created. That's cool.
I'm busy
Doing what?
making a quote secret library. It's not really a secret library, it's just because I was tired of having all the books in a chest. Garrett, why did you flick the door?
Because I didn't know what it was.
It literally says emergency door on it. Now go reset it.
I already said
You
it.
go upstairs. Go in the bedroom, there's a door there.
I mean, if you see a lever, what else are you gonna do?
It says emergency door.
Honestly, cutting a little bit of slack. Wait. What? Hold on.
What?
Okay, well my headphones are on. Oh, there it is.
What?
My audio's not working. Hold on.
Did you have your output device set before you booted up Minecraft?
Hold on. I got this. Hopefully. Yeah, Minecraft's actually pretty good. It's like magic. It's a joke about. It has jokes about Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, yeah, I'd assume in a fantasy movie. Probably be at least one crack somewhere.
Yeah, I think you would like it.
Yeah, I probably will. I'm busy doing this. Did you find the door?
Yeah, I fixed it.
You put it on top of the red thing, right?
Yes.
Because it needs to be set right. Because if we have another incident like the silverfish, we can just shut the door, basically.
So where are you hiding? Secret room?
The secret room.
Let's see here. Where's the button for it?
Shh.
Oh, it's probably like a spruce button on the ground or something.
Nope. I think I need to make another trip in the spruce dimension.
I mean, I have a diamond axe. You want I need that.
Could you just go into the spruce dimension and get a bunch of spruce and then bring it, or a dark oak and bring it back? It's the one that's on fire.
The one that's on fire.
It is, fire is green. Go nuts.
We're gonna need. Oh, wait. Or your mine shaft is on fire.
Yeah, I'm aware. Just go find another spot to get wood. I need to eat.
Oh crap.
Doesn't seem like a lot of that.
There's monsters here.
Well, there's the pigmen, but they don't attack you unless you bother them, which you did, of course.
I did it. They get angry at you for gold.
You're not wearing gold.
Yeah, they attack you if you don't wear gold.
Oh.
Gold. Or unless you distract them with any gold stuff like that.
It's not lagging too bad.
Oh yeah. Why are we lagging? Okay, there we go.
Because I just freaking teleported into the dimension.
Yeah, we're gonna need. I'm gonna need to wear like some gold boots or something. We'll be fine. As long as you have gold armor on, you'll be fine. Otherwise, good luck trying to stay alive.
We should just make an armor stand with the gold armor on it.
Right, you have to wear armor.
Yeah, I know. We should make an armor stand with gold armor on it by the portal. Like, we should make a little checkpoint, like a hazmat checkpoint, just with gold armor.
Alright, I'm gonna make you some. No, all you need is like gold boots, and you're fine. So,
We should make it like a PPE, like a vest. What?
put that on, and you're not gonna get harmed by lightning. Why is everything green?
No idea.
Wait, what do you need this for?
Making flooring, ceiling.
Wait, couldn't you just make it slopes or slabs?
Yeah, I have been making it slabs.
Huh. Oh, it's like... Okay. Oh yeah, you can also trade them with gold. Like, throw this on the ground and use stuff and look at it. And he gave you 13 quartz.
Hope the mine doesn't freaking catch on fire behind me.
He just gave you 2 crime seeds.
That should be enough for now.
No, maybe we could find a dimension where there's dark oak wood instead of white. So then you can just like craft the materials that are rapidly.
Wow.
Mine shaft.
It used to be a mine shaft. That's impressive.
Oh.
Get tricked.
Let's see here. There should be like some activation. Oops. Time to throw this book into the fire.
Nobody, the
There's
Nazis.
no more fire. Where did the fire go, Corey?
Just get some netherite from somewhere and light it again.
It was lava, but okay.
Something.
So what have you guys been doing while I was
Making the library.
Anything else?
Not really. We've just been prepping the library for, exploration.
Let's see here. Where's the secret entrance button? Is it in the library itself?
No.
Wait, outside of the library?
No.
Then is it inside the library?
No.
There's no swing in it.
No.
You have. There's no.
I'm
Is
just
there a
screwing
lever
with you.
here?
What?
Is there a lever in the library?
No. Yes.
Liar.
There's two levers in the library. You saw me use both. You used one of them, and you saw me use the other one.
The one that's inside the secret room.
What about the secret room?
I honestly have no idea where the rest is.
Nothing is true, and everything is true.
That's what they said about relationships. If is it in the emergency containment doors?
No.
Marine supply?
Nope.
Is it in the actual portal room, I guess?
Nope.
Are you going to actually tell the truth of where the button is?
Nope.
Your game is very easy. Thought you were gonna have to tell the truth about this story. So have you actually tested if the infinite books work like a normal bookshelf?
They do not. As far as we can gather.
If you were speaking the truth, would the button be in the library?
What?
If you were,
No, because it's not a button.
so it's a lever or a pressure plate.
Yeah.
So it's a lever.
Yes.
I honestly have no idea where it is.
You'll find it eventually, and then you'll hate me.
You know, I just pull out my diamond axe and break it open and put it back.
It's not in the. It's not in the door room, Garrett.
Then where is it?
I'm not telling you.
That was a valid attempt.
You're gonna have to find it yourself.
If I was Corey, where would I hide a lever?
It's really not that hard of a place, Garrett.
Why did we even make a secret room, Corey?
I don't know. I felt like it.
I feel like we hid it, like, up on around the ceiling or something.
No.
Okay, a little bit of a hint there. It's behind one of the portals.
No. You already looked behind the portals, Garrett.
God damn, I honestly don't know where it is. Did you hide it behind a bookshelf?
No, why would I hide it behind a bookshelf? I wouldn't be able to access it.
Part of it, is it on one of the unfinished parts of the library, like the actual enchantment bookshelves?
No,
Hmm.
there wouldn't be a point to putting it there.
Is it outside or around the library?
Yes. I don't know what that means, but yes.
I mean, is it like outside of the library itself, like out here in the hall or in the staircase going down?
Yes.
You're kidding me.
Yes, it is. It is around the library. Yeah.
So it's not inside the library at all. It's just like around.
Sure.
Is it in the barrel of salmon's crab?
No. How are you so oblivious?
No,
You are so oblivious.
You have
You're really bad at this.
I don't know where it is, Corey. You can't make fun of me for
You walked by it like 3 times.
Oh god, I did. Found it.
Oh, you know that's not a red herring.
God damn it. Wait, red hair? Is it from like a Fat 19 thing?
What? No, red herring is just when you leave something, when you plant something that seems like it'd be the obvious answer, but it's not.
Hold on, investigation.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's the lever. Did you just freaking break Salmon's bed?
No,
Could you put the lever back?
it is back.
It is the lever.
So you actually gave me a hint. Probably.
That's the damn lever, Garrett.
No, it's not. It doesn't even do anything. It doesn't do. It's a dud.
No, it's
It
not.
itself is a dud. I don't hear any piston noises.
Gary, you just freaking locked me in here.
I flicked it here. I look down. It's
Yeah, because I closed the door from the inside. You absolute giga brain Chad.
why close the door from the inside?
Because I don't want you coming in here because I'm busy.
Yeah, and then I have some spruce planks that I could give you.
I have 3 more stacks of slab. No, 4 more stacks of slabs.
I have friggin'
I don't know why I have this many slabs.
I have 1.5 slabs for you. Let's see.
You have 1.5 slabs.
1.5.
You mean you have 1 slab, then a quarter block?
And a button. Oh, that's a dog. Wait, do you have any bones?
There's a bunch in the chest, probably. Hey, LMAO. Gotta put a lot of books in here. Just a lot of books. Scary, 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 scary. All of this is scary. I don't like this. Because I'm going over the ravine that we dug into. It's so, like, I could just freaking fall off of here at any moment. Very, nerve-wracking.
I just realized this keyboard doesn't actually have a arrow pointing down. I taped dog.
You mean a V? You mean a V, Garrett?
No.
You mean a V?
No.
You mean like the character? You mean V?
No. No.
Garrett is absolute giga brain. Hey Garrett, did you break your way in here?
No.
It's very elegant of you, Garrett.
I didn't break in. Like, look.
Where's the stair, Garrett?
The stair. It's
Did
right
you
there.
break the redstone to get in here?
No, I did not. See, it works.
Okay. But did you break the other redstone to get in here?
No.
You
If I try to-
sure?
and if I try to prove it, you're just gonna lock me out again. Oh yeah, I had a bunch of pumpkin seeds.
What?
I have a bunch of pumpkin seeds and some crying obsidian.
Okay. Why don't you start using some of the books in the actual library? Seeing what you can get out of it.
Yeah, but then we're gonna have to make a lot of signs. Let's grab maybe a card of funny chest. Alright, let's see here. I got some spruce signs. I'm gonna start off with this yellow one in the top corner. Oh,
Is that netherite?
this is netherite scrap, but no,
Ancient
it's
debris.
It's ancient debris, and if you put it in a furnace, then it becomes netherite or scrap. It's ancient scrap, and then if we combine that with
Ancient
gold-
debris.
And then if we combine that with gold, we get netherite. The only problem is this is really hard to mine, and I have no idea how much it actually gives. If only it was netherite blocks, that would be good. But I guess this would do. place or it's a bad place. So it's like a good place, I write down good place. Bad place, it's a bad place. Oh, that's a lot of honey. God.
Garrett has become sticky. Wait.
Can I do anything with honey blocks other than?
Build redstone machines.
Oh yeah, I probably can make. Oh yeah, right. Have you seen
Why is my game lagging so much?
Because it's honey. Uh oh.
Return to base. Return to base.
Jump. I can't jump.
Do you have any other blocks?
No. I have ancient trees, but I
Moron.
want to sacrifice it. Oh, there's bones.
Sure do love breaking the same block 12 times. What the hell are you doing?
I don't know why it's laggy. Give it. Link back. Oh, it's a lot of sheep.
Garrett, what did you
I
do?
didn't do anything.
Yes, you did.
There's an elf bar. There was nothing wrong with that. I
This-
swear to God.
The server crashed.
I was trying to get out of there.
Did you get out?
I don't know. It looked like I was just about to.
Garrett, did you get out?
I don't know if I got out or not. Not out. Not out. Okay, no. I'm like a freaking librarian or something. It's like, this is a good place. This is bad. Good place, bad place.
Why are we lagging so much?
Oh!
Bookshelves!
Bookshelf!
Grab all of them.
Also, my game is lagging a lot. Oh, that's why.
What?
There was so much fences and they're updating.
It escaped. Change your render distance down.
Yeah, it's not. I'm getting a PowerPoint presentation.
Get into the portal then.
It was bookshelves. Should I leave the dimension and rejoin?
It crashed.
God damn it.
Hold on, let me see if I can give the server more RAM.
not in control of any of these situations whatsoever. So don't blame me for anything that happened.
Okay, I gave it 4 gigs of RAM. Got. Wait, how am I running it at this space? I didn't even like load anything on it. Okay,
Get me out of here, please, game.
name that bookshelf, but beware lag will cause server crash.
Oh God, no! Immediately leave! Immediately leave! It's freaking more leaves! Get me out of this place! Get me out! I immediately knew what was happening, so I'm like, leave.
Say no, leave. Say do not enter.
See, now I'm taking this more serious, like...
The hell?
This is
Basalt.
Basalt. Oh God, immediately leave again. It's more fences. They're gonna update at any point in time, so I better get out of there.
You gotta find one with bookshelves that's not absolutely computer wrecking.
These three, and then get more, warning, or get more signs. Wait. Well, at least you found a good enchantment table place.
What did you find?
Get out. World of enchantment tables.
Just purely enchantment tables? Why isn't... Oh, it's melons.
Melons and enchantment tables. And then it has the sound of slime balls. That's lava. Looks like a weird nether world. Then there's blue ice. Gotta take some melons. slime ball sound. Melon and no, this is a good place. I'm gonna put this one. Wait, hold up. Are there names? Are the locations different because of the different area, like the coordinates of where we put down the bookshelves? Okay, oh god, okay. No.
What?
Oh, it's infested. It's infested.
Just punch him, kill him. Don't really need to close the bulkhead for that.
Yeah, these are coordinates. The names of the books. It looks like I just went one block away from the other one, and it's like, what is this? Oh god. Black zone. Okay, well, this isn't a bad place. I'm out of signs.
Then make more.
I'm gonna say mix. There's not any more, no. But they are.
Yeah?
Hey, we have emeralds.
What's he have to offer?
It's glowstone.
Abduct him.
Kidnap him?
Yes. Force him to trade glowstone.
No, 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 Mr. Trader. Trader. Right there. Right. No. Boomer. Boomer. No, you're going to die. Go back inside. No. Go back inside. Go back in. Come on, follow me. Okay, I'm gonna go to the opposite direction of this one. Buddy. You know what? I'm ready to call it quits. I got him.
Okay.
He also has he has packed ice. Packed ice.
That's pretty good.
Dark oak saplings help nautilus cells and glowstone.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Now I can make stuff a little bit more fancier.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Self is
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4,
Villager for
2,
Villager
3, 4,
livestock.
5, 6. I hear lava.
Can't be that easy, can it? I can't like. This isn't that easy, is it? Wait. Wait. Huh. Alright, I think I just found a really OP way to get netherite materials. Look. We made diamond tools. Or netherite.
Yeah, that's how you're supposed to do it.
Huh. Let's go back. Netherite zone. Send me to the netherite zone. 2,000 durability, I can use this on 2,000 blocks. But we're gonna need like a lot of gold. Getting texted by multiple servers. So Corey, you still streaming?
Yes.
You're keeping your streamers entertained? God, look how hard it is to mine netherite. Or the scrap. Look. That's hard as fucking obsidian. Take like 20 scrap to give me the full netherite. Alright, there we are. This is the pickaxe.
So yeah, we're probably never gonna need cobblestone again.
We're gonna need cobblestone again?
No, we're probably never gonna need cobblestone again.
Yeah. Okay, now how are we going to get gold? Are there any gold dimensions? Okay, no, hold on. What about the first library? No two Neuromaze, Cantabon, Coal, Limbo, no, Redstone, Rock, Metal, Sandstone, Bedrock, Wood, Marble, not Emerald, Done, and Iron 5. Nether Mushroom, Fire.
Garrett, could you go grab some more or dark oak? I need 2 more stacks, probably. Slabs.
Lots of withers, fire is green, lava wood bag. We do not have an actual gold dimension.
Yeah, we do. We got the 7 out of 10.
Wait, is that 7 out of 10?
Yeah, remember?
No.
It's in the It's in the original portal room.
7 out of 10. That's coal, we need gold.
Oh, I thought you said coal. Question mark should have gold in it. Well, it has gold nuggets at least.
Yeah, I can convert that into. So, question mark. No, okay, here's question mark. Ah, thank you.
Oh well, it is a snapshot. I don't think I have one yet.
And now now I have netherite armor. I also have knockback resistance.
Did that come with it?
Armor toughness. Yeah, it +1 knockback resistance. Huh. That's actually really useful.
Well, now that you have that, could you go into the dark oak and get me some?
Give me 1 second. I need to make one more. I need to make one thing for my sword, otherwise this isn't going to be fun. Crap, I'm too short. Too short. I'm wanted in several states. But after I got it, I will actually go to the dimension. I don't like that it's lagging a tiny bit. Wait, should I do it? Should I upgrade my axe or my sword? I'm gonna upgrade my axe so I can gather more resources. Wait, hold on, let me just like. I'm gonna make a new axe real quick, hold on. But I want to have full durability before I use it. Is that alright? There we are. Now, you want me to go to the wood dimension?
Yeah, I need dark oak. Fire's green.
Fire green. I need gold boots for that. Wait, what do you need? What do you need the wood for? The ground?
I need to make slabs
Oh,
for the ceiling.
Remember, I have a stack and a half.
Oh, yeah, okay, actually, you can bring those to me, please. Garrett,
Yeah.
could you bring those to me, please? Because a stack and a half would be perfect.
Alright.
So, anyway, I'm almost done. I've gotten through all the books.
Card box, card box. Card box, card box.
This is book storage.
Oh god, we have to get through this much.
We don't have to. We just have these much. I'm about to give Lex a freaking stroke when he gets here.
You know, this probably triggers multiple people's OCDs, but I mean... So you're done with all the books?
What are you doing? Yeah, okay.
I'm kind of careful with the slabs so I don't like maybe I need
Last stack.
I'll just throw these to you on. I'm gonna get more netherite. But they're right there. Oh god, what is it? It's like something from a dream.
Perfect. Perfecto.
Tonight. 4 more netherite. One. Two. Actually, I need 2. Okay. Let's see here. The fire. No, it's not the fire's green. It's what was the gold one?
Question mark.
Oh yeah, question mark. Okay. Okay, so 36 pieces of gold nuggets.
Yep, that's pretty trippy, alright.
Yep.
Gonna give Lex and Salmon a frickin' stroke when they show up and see this. Only took an hour. 2.
There's something lying. I heard there's lying. Right. Oh, man.
Celebratory melon.
Frickin' the netherite axe does 10 damage. I can have somebody's health. I can't get away from the I need meat, but I did that she said joke. Wait, can't I do that with like oh. How do you okay. Diamond sword. Diamond put that bad boy back in. Wait, where'd all the sticks go? Oh, there they are.
They're scattered about.
And now I'm fully upgraded. Damn, the sword dude, that's 80.
Can make 3 more bookshelves for the enchanting table.
Should we? Yeah, I'm gonna go get more spruce to make more signs so I can investigate some more. Now I'm all armored up. I can actually go there without any risks of death, other than a silverfish. But I mean, what are the chances of another infested area? Don't answer that.
So what you're saying is, so bookshelves is bad area.
Yeah, I marked some with bad place and good place. Next one, right off the bat, leaving. There's decaying leaves. Bad place. Part one. I'm just testing. Oh, this is actually kind of nice. It's desert, so you got. Oh, it is. No, it's like it is a desert. It's a desert nether. Like I hear breathing. I hear gas. It is nether. But really see.
Proud of that.
Fighting gas? Fighting? How did that miss? There we are. I killed you. Try? Try little bitch your chance, maybe? Not knowing that I exist. Yeah. Oh, got gas here. Nice.
Wait, what? What dropped a gas tier?
A gas.
Wait, there's gas there?
Yes. I said that.
Oh boy.
Well, I guess this is a good farming zone. There's a lot of gases. I can hear them. Okay, well, would you look at the time? Time to go. Thank you. Okay, come on. There we are. Attaboy. Okay, I can do another one. So this is a good farming zone. Back. Gas. Word. That's water. Huh. This nether has water instead. Cool. This is actually a good one. Alright. Gas. Gas. Farm. Good. Place. Now we can use that to make regeneration our world's a frozen river. Frozen river superfly. Raiders. Okay. Oh no, this is what the this is bizarre. Like I spawned in a frozen sea. Honestly, this is really bad. It's really good for fishing. I can melt stuff. Of course. Yeah. This is a good fishing spot. So I guess the dimensions are created by location on the world, I guess.
No idea.
This is banners and quartz block. The quartz block. Oh, now it can get fancy. And there's another fortress. And wait, that's a blaze spawner. It's right in front of our base. It's right in front of our portal. It's right in front of our freaking portal, Corey. Okay, they are not like slimes. They are not friendly when they're tiny. Very opposite of that. Okay.
It's just do you trade books? He does not trade books.
Does this blaze spawner actually work? I don't know, but I'm gonna barricade it anyways.
What the hell? Hold on. Aha!
This is a banner zone. I don't think the blaze spawner actually works.
Banner zone, banner zone.
kidding me. Okay. New place.
Hey, what?
Another infested place. Why are there so many places with silverfish? It's like a common like thing. Oh hey, wood. The lava? Not that I see. What's the lava of this place? What the? That's hold on.
Doo-doo.
Is that just like just striped oak plank? Or no, stripped oak logs. And our food. I'm gonna head back. Alright. This is a good place for wood. That's as much exploring as I'm gonna do. I'm kind of. Alright, everyone, I got bored.
Boob.
Dude, where'd you get all this cobblestone from?
Garrett, I dug a giant tunnel. Lamps, Lex is online.
Lex is online.
Lex is online. Be funny, poopy funny. Hey Garrett, we should build a wall around the house. Garrett, join me.
We should build a wall. Or are we Trump?
Yes.
Oh. Alright. How big should the wall be?
I'm just building it 2 blocks high for now, then we can add more to it later.
Location of our base isn't really good, but
Wall.
we should probably clear out all this like wood, trees and stuff.
Just go around the trees. I think we do 2 blocks and then we add 2 blocks on top of it. I mean, look at what I'm doing.
Like, I have no idea, like, the distance you really want. How far?
We just gotta eyeball it. Where are you? Ah, there you are. Just plow around the tree.
Huh, oh, why? It's called an axe.
No. The tree grew in the way of the wall. There, it's adding another layer too.
What? You know, just cut down the freaking tree instead of having to build around it, right? We should probably just clear out the trees.
Skill. Ow. Build a great wall, make the trees pay for it. Ugh.
Well, at least now we don't have to worry about wood.
Well, we do have a couple dimensions that are just wood.
Well, I mean, logs.
You're right, we haven't found a dimension with logs on it yet.
Yeah, I rather have a dimension with logs because of the fact that, you know, just it's a lot more efficient.
Defense.
Cutting down all the trees.
Almost done. Done.
Well, I mean, if you want the wall to be good, you gotta make it big.
We must make the wall bigger.
You must freaking make the wall as tall as possible.
255 block height.
Build the freaking ascended wall. We're gonna build a very tall wall. I'm gonna throw all my stuff in the chest because I don't think I'm gonna be able to get down.
You can continue building the very tall wall.
I'm just gonna like throw all my valuables
I'm gonna make an entrance.
You work on that, Corey. I'm gonna work on the wall. I'm gonna try not to die. Now, first things first. How am I supposed to get up on the wall?
Good question.
Found a way.
I was thinking of making like a guard post or something.
This would be really useful.
You said you got quartz?
Yeah, there's a quartz dimension. Like a smooth quartz dimension.
Do you have it?
A quartz block dimension. I wrote that down. I put that there. Probably somewhere.
Do you have the quartz blocks?
No.
Why?
I didn't need it then.
I need to make a daylight detector.
Quartz block. Well, wait. Can't you convert that into an actual? I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Melon and Anshan.
Corey, why would you do this? Why?
Haha.
It really makes me sad, man. Don't be half-assed, lazy. Or no, vice versa.
I don't think you can make quartz out of it. It sucks.
Not too hard to try. Damn. Why were you avoiding every tree? Oh, well, you could just move the bamboo cord. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna bring like iron to it.
I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like you.
We don't even have any iron tools. Yep.
Hello? Salmon? Salmon frickin' died. Salmon's dead.
Hello?
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 Corey, I'm building a wall.
Garrett, I can barely hear you.
I'm
Poob.
building a wall.
Building a wall.
Wait, hold
I can't make quartz out of that. I'm upset.
on.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Yes. So what did I miss?
I'm building a wall.
That's
That's pretty much it.
Did you finish up that enchantment table?
Well, we did find a bookshelf dimension, but the only problem was that it, like, had
Destroys
fences
the server.
it had fences that were updating, and that kind of, like, caused the entire server to crash again.
Twice.
For, like, for the 50th time.
I guess I shall continue experimenting with different words, seeing what comes up.
Piss.
Penis.
Actually,
Penis. Okay, I'm gonna fix Corey's freaking mistake of a wall. Does he try?
alright.
No, the cat is not alright.
What did you do to the cat?
She does not want to go out. I presume the dog is outside the door.
Dog. Mhm.
What is that?
The dog's just staring in the door, like licking the window. Just like
Like a freaking
blood.
No, I was thinking more of like a sexual predator to the cat. Like, hey, you wanna step outside maybe?
It's got a nice light blue color.
I need to go into the nether.
Huh. Nope.
What?
Does not have what we are looking for. Alright, what else should we try?
Isolation.
Ooh, red.
Your penis produces red? Wow.
Bruh, imagine if we peed yellow instead of
Wow,
red.
it's all black wool. Each just oceans of black wool. Holy crap. And warped planks. And magma. And now I've lost the clue. Oh, and it's got the shoulder. What should I try? Isolation?
Yep.
Alright, green. Oh.
What?
It's a super flat world of only dirt, and there's a house.
In the house.
Programmed in. Go away. Ingen Reklam Tak. Oh yeah, this was totally programmed in. There's a villager in here. 3 dogs. Bob's dog, Bob's other dog, their cousin Joe, Jim. And then we have Bob the villager. Infinite bookshelves, 3 different chests.
What do the chests have?
Nothing.
They're
A block
bookshelves.
that says home sweet home. Reskin. Very fine. Ooh, a jukebox. Yeah, so isolation is definitely something to check out. It's a villager in here. I'm gonna guess that was programmed in, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. What else should we try?
The wandering trader just spawned and I'm upset.
Super flat.
Wait, what? Wandering trader despawned?
Yeah. It's a sad gamer moment.
Looks like you spawned in a cave. But not a normal cave. Yeah, nothing of interest. What if I toss in this very fine item? What? Oh, where'd it go? Ooh, did it change the portal? No, it didn't. It just went to the other side. Oh, okay. I'm gonna let you go again. Alright, what else should I try? Book.
Just say book.
That is, that's all it is. It's the end. Except pop.
Hey, Corey.
Is
Corey, wonder what this wall
avocado.
reminds me of?
What?
Freaking Thanksgiving special, your guys' like
Well, that was a
block
waste
of
of my
a
time.
base.
Guess we'll just never find a place to get bookshelves.
Hey Sam, you want to see the this hidden library? You want to see how much it's changed?
Ooh,
I've dug this by hand.
oh my god, this looks infinite.
These are all of the bookshelves that were in the chest.
All of them?
Yes.
So I'm gonna guess you probably did the math to find out how many.
No, I just realized I was building by 4s, and I'm like, oh, that works out. Yeah? Alright,
Pause.
hold on a second. I'll be right back.
You get the call.
Workstation or PlayStation?
Workstation. Yeah, let's go with that.
Or let's go with that.
Give it until Monday, okay?
You make Monday sound like D-Day.
Gart's funny dog. Gart talks. Let's see. See if we can just find a random dimension full of books. Second word. Alright, I'm loading in a new dimension. Nice green. Green is good. Oh.